So, in today's episode, if you are struggling with competency and wanting to be knowing all the things before getting onto YouTube, before executing anything that you want to do, this episode is going to be for you. You may be a type 5, and that is what we're going to talk about today. Welcome to the EnneaReal Podcast, Women, Moms, Real Estate, and the Enneagram. I'm your host, Melody Wilson, a certified Enneagram and real estate coach. If you're a high-achieving realtor mom looking to find balance and unlock your full potential, you're in the right place. In this podcast, we explore the intersection of women, real estate, and the Enneagram. Join me as I provide Enneagram insights and practical tools tailored specifically for women in the real estate industry. Together, we'll uncover strategies to navigate the unique challenges and opportunities and find harmony in all areas of your life. All right, so we're talking all about type 5s. Type 5s, if you don't know how we normally format this podcast, is I go through the Enneagram University's guide overview of the different types and core qualities, core characteristics, and then we talk about how that looks and what that looks like in real estate, for YouTube, giving you some strategies, and also just to help you sort out some more self-awareness. Whether you're not a type 5, maybe you understand the type 5s better when you are working with them as a partner in your relationship, as kids, that kind of thing. So type 5 core qualities, their core fear is being incompetent, incapable, invaded. Now, let's be honest, none of us, I don't believe, want to be seen as incompetent. But these type 5s, it's a whole nother element of fear. It's not just, I don't want to be incompetent. It's literally, it makes them to their core feel sick if they're incompetent. So it does prevent you from doing a lot of things. And if you're not aware of that, their core desire is to be competent and capable and to be completely self-sufficient. They don't want to be dependent on anyone. They won't have to rely on anyone. They have to know all of the things and understand all of the things. Their core weakness is hoarding. Now, hoarding not in the sense of your house is full of all this crap and you're hoarding like you're a hoarder, but in the sense that they hoard their time. They're very, very conscious of their time. And so they're very careful with how much time they give out and energy, because they know that their limits and they don't want to give it away. They withhold their emotions, their energy, their time. So just think about that if that's something you can relate to, or someone asks you to go do something and you're like, you know what? No. Like your boundaries to a whole nother level. Most people don't have enough boundaries, but type 5s almost have too many boundaries if that's possible. The core message is you already have what it takes and your needs are not a problem. So because type 5s, when they have needs, they feel like they don't want to impose on others, to be problematic to others around them, because they want to not cause issues to other people. And their core differentiator is that they are aware of their energy and how much they have, how much they can manage. So that is a good strength to have, but you also have to be careful because it can prevent you from entering into more vulnerable type relationships, etc., etc. So let's take a look at the strengths and struggles. Strengths are they are observers, researchers, and highly analytical thinkers who find it easy to make objective data-based decisions. They are knowledgeable, independent, emotionally controlled, and do not want to be involved in drama. They are calm, rational, and thoughtful. And they are constant learners, gathering knowledge, and can be reliable, wise counsel. I'll tell you this, in my experience, I don't know very many type 5s. Type 5s are a lot rare of a breed, and they might not be completely rare. They just may be rare out in the open in the public, because they tend to stay indoors more. It sounds funny, but you don't see them out as much because, again, of that time hoarding, energy conserving personality that they have. They tend to not be out a whole lot. They're not as social as most types are. They're probably, I would say, one of the more introverted ones that stay at home. The struggles are because they tend to be private people and are more cerebral. They can struggle to empathize or connect emotionally with others. This can come off as guarded, disengaged, or uninterested. They can struggle with a scarcity mindset. So they may have a hard time sharing their time, energy, and resources. They often hold back contributing in groups because they struggle to feel they know enough or are ready enough to offer something of value. So they are great people, but it's just, you don't see that. And then if you think about realtors in a type 5 situation, if most realtors are not very private. we're pretty public when it comes to social media. So if you're a type 5 and you're struggling with putting your life out there on social, this may be the reason. Maybe you're hardwired to actually not want to be public. And so you tend to be more private. And so we want to talk to you today about how you're able to use your key traits to your benefit, and also be able to overcome this so that you are able to be a better marketer. Because if you have more marketing, you can increase your ability to sell. And if you have better sales skills, once you recognize who you are, you'll be able to take your business to the next level as well. Now, we talk about wings in each of these overviews, and this is no different. So again, just a reminder, the Enneagram is a circle, kind of like this circle back here if you're watching on video, and the numbers start from 1 to 9. So it goes in circle. And so your wings are the ones beside you, right? So when you're a bird, you have one to your left wing and one to your right wing. The 5 wing 4 is known to be even more withdrawn and private. Introverted is introspective, eccentric, emotionally aware, creative, imaginative, and inventive. But again, more of the internal. Now, a 5 wing 6 also is more introverted as well, but they're more cognitive, analytical, anxious, people-oriented, collaborative, disciplined, rely on research and their conceptual mind to process and fix problems. Now, that 6 part of the loyalness and like being that people person, that's why they're a bit more people-y, but they're definitely still more on the introverted side. For a 6-5 and a 6-7, the 7 is actually a lot more extroverted. So the 5s definitely overall, you tend to be more private, more introverted. So how do you make that work for you when it comes to real estate? Well, stay tuned. I'm going to talk about that in a minute. Now, the type 5s use the head center, the thinking triad, as their center of intelligence. So they tend to engage in life through their minds, and they know, their body knows before their hearts or the guts, right? So we talked about the 3 different triads: the heart, gut, and mind. And the type 5s definitely are in the mind. 5s internalized early on in life that the safest place on earth was within their minds. They find joy when reading, researching, studying, analyzing, innovating, processing concepts, and solving problems. They tend to focus in on mastering a few specific topics and have a unique ability to zoom out and see the full picture, or zoom in to the intricate details of an issue, synthesize the information, and offer reliable solutions. So you can see how this can be very beneficial as a realtor, because you're able to take the emotions out of a very emotional decision-making process. Because when people go to buy a house or sell a home, it's very difficult to not be emotionally involved, right? They've either had family memories there, either good or bad. They are going to have family memories there. It's the most expensive purchase they're putting involved. They're buying it with someone they love. There's a lot of emotion involved. And sometimes we as realtors need to help give them some logic so that they're able to make a good decision long-term, so they're not entering in and overpaying for something just because of their emotions. Now, you have to understand, you do need to sympathize. And sometimes when type 5s don't sympathize naturally or empathize, the client may not feel heard, and they may feel like you're being more robotic and don't understand them. So you want to work on that empathy card so that you're able to really understand where they're coming from, because if you can combine the two, it'll be a really powerful tool. Now, it says here one of the biggest growth types would be to access your heart and body. So that's what I mentioned earlier. If you can understand and give access to connection with others through the hearts, that would be really important. Now, we talk about the arrows, which is the stress and the growth path. And when you are in stress, a type 5 will look and take on the unhealthy traits of a 7. So that would be more self-centered, white-knuckled and hoarding, even more than normal, hyperactive, impulsive, and scattered, and even condescending. So these are the negative traits of a 7, and you tend to take on those when you're really in stress. Of course, there's negative traits of a 5 as well, but this is showing you even more warning signs to get you back into health. Now, when you're in a growth path and you're healthy, you're going to take the positive traits of a healthy type 8. So you're more self-confident, more assertive, active and forward-moving, gut trusting, and you gain energy. So that's interesting when it comes to your growth, and your stress. Now, this is the last episode of this series where we look at YouTube and an overview of each type. In our next series that's going to be starting here soon, we're going to be talking deep dive into who you are in as a type. You can learn about all 9 types, about their levels of development, where you are, what you look like, even deeper when you're in unhealth and stress, and how to get out of that, how to move into growth, and really your mental health state. And if you can find out who you are with that, because a lot of times we live in stress. So if you're trying to identify who you are, you may identify more with the type that you're in stress. So if you are type 5, for example, but you related more to the episode when I talked about, or if you do relate to the type 5, maybe you're in stress. So maybe you're a type 8, but you're in the stress mode of a 5. So I know it sounds kind of confusing. You're going to want to tune into the next episodes to understand all the different levels of development so you can see what each type looks like more in depth when they're in health and when they're in average mode, when they're in growth mode. Now, when you take a look at type 5s at real estate in terms of your professional strengths, you're super happy to work independently and don't need to be micromanaged. So you work really well as a solo agent, but you can also work really good as a team member because you don't have to be micromanaged. You're objective and critical thinkers who are great problem solvers, which in real estate, we need problem solvers. We need people who are solution orientated and don't get stuck in the mess of the emotion or egos when people are getting upset, whether it be realtors on the other side or the clients. They take pride in being knowledgeable and continuing to learn. Another great trait. As an agent, things are constantly changing. There's technology always changing, YouTube, social media. And because you want to be knowledgeable, you're constantly learning and taking courses. Let's just make sure I challenge you to put into action those courses and not to take so many courses before you start something. So for YouTube, you might have taken one course, you want to take another one and another one before you start YouTube. I would say just hit that record button and start to share your expertise in what you already know. So you don't need to be an expert in all of the YouTube things. You need to be an expert in pushing that record button and sharing your expertise. The types of videos that work probably well for you, the best for you, are going to be educational videos because you naturally are wired to be competent and very knowledgeable. You can now share your knowledge. Now, you may be a very private person, so it's a struggle for you to kind of think, well, what am I going to do? I don't really want to put myself out there. Just imagine you're talking to one person on that camera. And I know that it's not really one, but just imagine that when you're recording. So when you do put it up on there and it does go out to the world, it's actually to your benefit. Because if someone feels like you're talking just to them on the video, that video is going to do so much better because you're addressing one person, not a huge amount of people. Now, your other strength is you consider and analyze all options before impulsively acting. So it's good because a lot of us realtors are impulsive and we move quickly and then think later. And you think first before action. So that is a strength. However, a struggle is that working at their preferred pace is much slower than others may prefer. So it may be a struggle on a team, or if you're a subordinate to a team lead, or if you are a team lead, your agents may be frustrated with the slow pace. In real estate, things move quickly. And if that's something that, bothers other people, it could be a challenge. Now, you can dive in so deep on projects, you lose track and you miss timelines. So that's hard if you get too in depth into, for example, YouTube. You need to put out consistent videos every single week. So maybe one of the ways to counteract this is to film a few videos and then launch your channel so you can launch and put it out once a week. Others often seek more communication than you want to give, which is draining. You want to just give bare minimum. You don't want to always be explaining things. So be aware of that as a struggle. And they do prefer independent projects over team collaborations. So if you are on a team, this will be a struggle as well. You may end up being a better solo agent, but solo agents should be collaborating. We really encourage collaboration, especially at a brokerage, because whether you're at my brokerage or another brokerage, collaboration is everything when it comes to real estate, because real estate can be a very lonely world. So you can understand that in real estate, when it comes to, how do you use your natural wirings for you and your YouTube strategy, like I mentioned earlier, take that ability to educate people and just really zone in on it. Now, figure out your niche. You probably already know your niche because you're so analytical. You've already thought exactly who you're helping. Target your niche. Use your wirings to your strategy for planning, for filming, and for executing. When you're making a description, you're writing it specifically for somebody, that's going to help a lot. Now, when it comes to balancing your desire for privacy and your opportunity to share valuable expertise, I touched upon this a little bit earlier. I know you want to be private. I know you don't want to share your life, but guess what? What you can do instead of sharing your personal life is, yes, you have to share your energy, but share your energy of your expertise. And I would highly recommend trying to be a little bit more energetic than you normally are on YouTube, because on the videos, things kind of get more amplified and magnified. So if you are, you know how they say the camera always adds 10 pounds? Well, it does not add 10 pounds of energy. So you need to be very energetic to be seen as a little bit energetic. So if you are normally not this, I'm not asking to be someone you're not, but just keep in mind, if you can turn up your energy just a little bit, don't hoard that energy on the video, be as energetic as you can. It will be diluted when people are watching it. And don't worry about not having all that energy that somebody else might have, because you're going to attract your tribe. That's what I love about YouTube. You're going to take the people that appreciate the education you're giving them, the energy level. They don't want someone that's all over the place. They want someone more level headed, and that could be you as well. Now, I'm going to give you some strategies for overcoming analysis paralysis, because I know that you may be sitting there and you have already done all the courses. You maybe even have a list of all the videos, the best videos that you should do that are best performing. You probably have a list, maybe even of a script, but you're like, okay, what else do I need to do? What other keywords do I need to do? What other, like, you are not the person that needs to do more research. You're actually the person that needs to do less. You need to execute. You need to tap into your healthy side of a type 8 and move towards action and be confident and assertive. Tap into that. You have the ability to tap into that. So what you want to do is take all the research you have, and I would use your skills of planning and just plan in your calendar, I'm filming on this day. And then I want you to take your other strategy of planning and go, here's all my stuff. I'm going to put it into my calendar, put the script into your calendar. Then when it's time to film, you pull up your calendar because it's binging at you saying it's time to film. You look at your appointment. Your appointment is to film pros and cons of living in your city, and you're going to hit the record button, because that is your biggest thing. You've got to have a plan of action. One little baby step at a time will take you out of analysis paralysis. And it's a headspace thing. Accountability will also help you overcome analysis paralysis. If you're in an accountability group, if you're in a group coaching group, you will be able to implement, because you just need to accomplish and be seen as competent amongst your peers, right? So make sure that you plug yourself into some accountability, whether it be group coaching, whether it be another agent. I know you don't want to collaborate, but this is where it's going to help. And just make sure you kind of overcome that, because you're going to be able to have so much strength in your YouTube channel. Now, another thing that I want to talk about is, how do you present yourself confidently and a knowledgeable authority in your field? Some of the ideas for video topics, even though you might already know, is market stats. Market stats is going to be the biggest and easiest way for someone like yourself, who's all about the numbers, to discuss and speak confidently about your field. So what you can do as well is every week, every day, if you want, pick a community and learn about all the numbers and all that kind of stuff. Only give yourself max a week or two, because I don't want you to just be stuck reading your stats and just being stuck in stats. Then I want you to hit record. I want you to even go live. Go live and start talking about what you're observing with your numbers, and what does it mean to buyers? What does it mean to sellers? What your observation is as a professional agent. This is going to let you present all your knowledge of all your numbers to help others who don't understand all the numbers. And I think that's going to be absolutely huge. You could have a YouTube channel that's all about the numbers. I know it sounds extremely boring for some of you who are listening, but one of my best performing videos on my YouTube channel is my market stats. And so because of that, I doubled down on it. Now I do live weekly updates in addition to my monthly market stats. I do still talk about pros and cons. I still talk about the areas in the city and all that kind of thing. But that's the thing that most of my viewers want to see. That's where I get a lot of my subscribers from. So know what it is. And another strength that you have as a type 5, being more analytical, once you have some videos on, this might be an encouragement for you to get more videos on there, is because then you can look into your analytics. And you love that stuff. I know you do. So you can go in the back end, you can look and analyze what videos are doing well, where people are dropping off, what's doing best, are you being found, what's your click-through rate. There's a lot of opportunities to get into your nerdy analytical self because you have the content and the numbers. And I would say maybe wait for like at least a month before you start looking at the analytics. And truthfully, 6 months, a year is going to give you better analytics. But as soon as you have at least a month, you can start to change and maneuver your strategy based on what you think is working and what's not. Another thing you can do to analyze things, but not for you to not execute. Go look at other successful agents in your market, look at other successful agents outside of your market, and also look at just YouTubers in general that are doing well. Take a look at their thumbnails, their keywords, their descriptions. What are they talking about? What are the length of time of video that people are presenting? Keep in mind, everyone's is going to be different. What performs well for you may not perform well for me, and vice versa. So take the observation so you can learn and kind of garner some of those key elements, but then make sure that you are open and understanding that this is not necessarily what you need to be successful, but it's elements you can try and experiment and A/B test. So you can kind of think, this isn't about competency, this is about testing A and B to find the analytics. And that'll help you get over a little bit of your desire to be stuck in analysis paralysis. If you want to dive deeper into a type 5 or type 8 or type 7, because you think, what is going on? Our next episodes, I am so excited about this next series to dive deep into your growth, to understand what you look like in stress, because let's be honest, as realtors, we mostly live in stress. So if I redid this entire series and just said, hey, this is you, and just talked about stress, you might actually relate to it more. So if you haven't figured quite out what type of you are of the 9 types, make sure to tune into our next series, and make sure if you're not subscribing already to this podcast to subscribe, and we'll talk to you next time. If any questions or specific topics you'd like us to cover, please reach out to us on our website or social media channels, melodywilson.ca. Together, let's unlock the potential within you and thrive in both your real estate career and motherhood.